Okay, so this is going to be your seance reading, and we're going to be doing it distantly. Um, Maybe there was just like a communication error, but I wanted to go ahead and give this to you. So, welcome to your seance, my dear. I've already lit the candle, but we're going to do a special little invocation for it anyway. I'm using House of Hoodoo Spirit Oil and Miss Nancy's seance candle. And we are going to get the messages going. We're working with her dependent voice deck. So let's go ahead and get this started. Okay. I love the smell of this stuff. It's so good. Hold up 1 second. Okay, my dear. So the first thing I want to talk about is some messages I've been meditating on you and just selfies that I have. So I feel like there is a lot of loss and disassociation from whenever we started this journey and from whenever we began this journey. And we need to kind of meet in the middle here on this and how we can move forward. And I don't know if you have a snake that appears as a guide, but I almost feel one kind of like slither up my back and like come around. And they're saying like be careful of like snakes in the grass and people that will give you false information. Um, Hold on, I'm listening. And just be careful of like what others warn you of and how, and you need to be going about your day in truth. You need to be going about your day in truth, girl. Speaking truth, all of the truth, even if they are uncomfortable truths, you need to be taking control of that. Um, so I think we are looking at things from a spiritual sense and a viewpoint that has been challenged. Right now, your world has been rocked, and we're kind of trying to rebuild that. And that might look really different than what it did years ago. Years ago, I feel like we started off with like, okay, we're going to rebuild our identity and our confidence, and we're doing things, and we're grooving, and we're doing a lot of these readings and things for other people, and we've stepped out into our own. And I feel like there's a lot of bone work going on, because I'm starting to see a lot of bones and a lot of smoke, and you just kind of like running your hands over them and chanting and things. They're saying be careful of your circles of power and how you're approaching your need for control. Do not um, become somebody that lashes out in anger or that is living through others. And so I pulled several cards from Nancy's Dependent Voice deck, and I just want to talk about that for a minute. So the first card I pulled was I'm angry, and since we just got that message of anger, I want to focus on this. So what you're feeding and breathing and attracting is kind of coming towards you. They're showing me kind of like the porch and a night setting. We need to find a moment where we have peace and we have contentment. There's also a guy that shows up on the porch, and he's just kind of hanging out there and just kind of lives there, and that is what it is. But they're just talking about a lot of anger and resentment for things not going the way they should be. And this kind of needs to heal in a sense, because this is breaking us down. This is a breakdown of power. And this is a lesson that, like, not everything is meant for us. And sometimes it will be taken away for a reason. Not everything is meant for us. And I think that's where the power loss card comes in. We are experiencing a huge power loss, and I know things are hard right now in the physical world, especially with kids and everything. I know it is, and I acknowledge that, and I'm sorry. So the chapters in healing and things that are going to be unfolding are going to be like it's going to be a layered process that are really going to start to span years. So it might be a while. I think recoveries are going to take a while. And it's not instantaneous, and we've been like this for a while. So let's talk about a lot of the spirit messages that are coming in. So you've got a lot of guides that are coming forward. So I think what we need to focus on is some of your house spirits and how we are interacting with the house spirits. And I see people leaning in and being like, So this is not the woman that is from before that has kind of followed you, but there is a woman that peeks into your room and kind of watches. So she's not angry, but you're angry. It feels like they're saying you are angry that people watch you. Again, there's like a huge power loss situation happening, and so now they're talking about a soul piece, and I actually feel like that is a soul piece that is trying to come back to you, and we need to merge with, because the card separation comes forward, and this woman looks like she's about 5'10", and like wavy-ish, shoulder length, dirty blonde hair, skinny. And she just comes around and she's like, hey, I'm here. And I think we need to, that's a soul piece that we need to merge with. And that's something we can work on in the Witch's Circle, just merging with those lost soul pieces and finding them. So the shadow self is coming forward, and I think there's a lot of guilt that's springing forward, and that's a lower self situation, and this is supposed to be a seance for you, but your spirits are kind of redirecting the energy towards you and your physicality of what's going on right now. That's okay. That's okay, right? Right. This is the reading that's supposed to be happening. So I feel like there's a lot of shame and guilt going on, that we're living in deep, like, I don't know what to do. Fuck. And it's not about that. It's not about you knowing what to do or having all of the answers. It's just about you being there and being present. And the card, I need forgiveness, and we need to forgive. You didn't miss a step. You didn't miss anything. You're not doing things that are wrong. It's going to be okay. But the road that we are on is really long, if that makes sense. And so whenever you're doing your readings and things for your own personal clients at these events, we need to have protection, because you have a personal responsibility for yourself, because you are doing spiritual work, to not hold on to other people's energy. We need to make sure we're cleansing. We are cleansing ourselves and having some protection. I always have like a little ritual I do personally after I do readings for people, where I kind of get rid of their energy spiritually and not tether onto them. Don't stay tethered. I think that's where the communication error is happening. Do not stay tethered to someone else. That's not a point of energy exchange you need to keep. Once the reading is done, you are done. once the reading is done, you are done. That connection is supposed to fade. So I think that's where the card lessons to learn is coming into play. We have a lot of lessons that need to be learned as far as how we do things, how we do our protection, and doing what feels right to us. And that's going to be okay because it feels right in a way that is fitting for everyone. Okay, I sometimes take a shower, for example. Sometimes I'll do an egg cleanse. I find ways to cleanse myself of the energy because that is what is needed. That is what is needed. And right now, I know this is a hard time and this is a heavy time. And so the spirits you have around you, a lot of them are very lost, a lot of them are very lonely, and they can't find a way out. What you have is kind of like everyone and anyone who's around you. I don't know what we're doing with these readings, but we need to have some type of spiritual door open whenever you're doing the readings to like get these people's dead people away from you. Maybe they're showing me like a selenite wand, maybe using a selenite wand to kind of cleanse. But we need to have our barriers up because these dead people are not your dead people. There are hordes of dead people around you. Like, I could very easily, the last few seances, see what is around you, and then now it's just we've gathered so many we've gathered, and we need to calm down on that. I definitely think that there's a lot of spirit release work that needs to be done around you, and you don't need to make it a big deal. I would just say, hey, I know you guys are fucking here. This is the door. It's time for you all to leave. Leave, 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 leave. And I would set that intention whenever you're doing these little market readings. You don't have to say it out loud. You don't have to let your clients know that this is what's happening, but this is what I think needs to be taking place. And I think energetically, you're going to feel better. Things are going to become lighter. And you're going to become a little bit more healthier because we need to take care of ourselves, our space, our habits, and mindset. That's really going to be important because a lot of these spirits, they don't know they're dead around you. I don't see the light. They don't see the light. They don't know the way to the door. They can't fucking find it. And also, I think this is a double metaphor for you. This is a card also for you, not just your spirits. We are in a time where we don't fucking see the light, and that can be hard. That can be really hard. And it's going to be okay, but we have to know somewhere that the light is coming, and that's really a hard space to be in, especially because it's hard to get there, especially whenever we're in the moment of it, right? Whenever we're in the moment of loss of any kind, it's really hard to see that there's going to be a time of acceptance. I'm not going to use the word peace because I think that's bullshit. There's never really a time of peace. There's a time of energetically holding what is happening to you in a different way. That is what is. Okay, so now I can talk about some house spirits since you're here. And so just as we were talking, I don't know if you've seen a guy walking around. I don't know if that's a living room area, but there are definitely homie's walking around and he's looking and he's peeping. He just walked by you as we were like, I'm trying not to give them a lot of attention because I feel like then they also tap.
Yeah.
They
Yeah.
touch. Um, I think that's also why I've been talking a lot about the selenite and the smoky quartz. I think the selenite is more of a crystal that's ready to work with you as a cleansing. We need a big
Right.
bleh, cleanse. Just everybody get the fuck out and we need a reprieve.
Yeah.
You're like, yes, I do. I need it. I need it. we need a reprieve. So selenite is going to be a good reprieving tool for that. And I think you're going to start to feel better. Definitely go, now that I'm seeing your space, which is a lot better for me for this reading, definitely go in to that whole area and take your, I don't know if it's little, if it's big, doesn't really fucking matter what the physical size of it is. And it's about the
Right.
intention of it. Go around all of your walls and just doop boop boop. You can't touch this. This is mine. You can't touch it. Are you Reiki certified?
Yeah.
Yeah. So go in and use your Reiki symbols and
Okay.
reclaim that space and clear it out. I would definitely, whew, they don't like that. That's okay. I would definitely go in and use some sage, not white sage. You can do something else like dragon's blood, eucalyptus. We're talking about just things that are
Hmm.
fresh. We need a fucking do. We need fresh
Okay.
energy, especially in the home. Start in that spot you're in now, and then work your way, especially down to the girls' room. I don't know if they still share a room or if they're in separate
No,
bedrooms, but they're what now?
they're next to each other though.
Yeah. So I couldn't tell if they were because they seemed together, but like not together.
Yeah.
So that makes sense. If they're one room here and one room here, then they shared that wall space. So kind of
Yeah.
together, but not. I would just go in and burn. They keep talking about eucalyptus, so I guess that's the herb you're supposed to be working with now. Eucalyptus.
Okay.
If you can find
I've
some
got
fresh,
I grow some of that, so that's not a bad deal.
it's already there. That's why it wants to
Yeah.
work with you. And then also take it and put it in the shower. So we need to change that fresh eucalyptus out. Like I think it's supposed to be weekly. You need to look into that because I don't know how long eucalyptus actually lives alive. Like they're showing
Yeah.
it like in a bundle that you like put some twine around, like from the dollar store, and just throw it on top of the shower.
Okay.
Where the girls' shower is, I think that's supposed to be like it's going to be helpful.
Yeah. That's the room that kind of what I thought for a while was a portal or some very, very active, the bathroom there. Like, I don't know if it still is, but for a while there, it seemed to be very active.
So the best thing I can tell you about that is they're talking about plants. So whenever I have had some situations happen to me, I guarded with plants.
Okay.
So I would put some living plants in there.
Okay.
Pothos is a really great plant to have in different rooms that don't get a lot of sunlight because they don't need a lot of sunlight. They're really cheap and you can buy them anywhere. I would
Yeah.
just get like a small pothos, water it every day. If it looks like it needs some sun, especially in a bathroom, if you don't have a window there to like
Mhm.
open up, take it out into like the living room for a few days, then put it back in. It's going to be important you put it back into the bathroom and incorporate that eucalyptus into the shower. And I think that'll make things a lot more lighter. Whenever you put the okay, whenever you put the eucalyptus in there, I'm also seeing the pothos, so I think these are double-sided instructions. Whenever you put both of those in there, just kind of take your selenite wand and cleanse over them. I do the same thing with plants. And coincidentally, after I did all of my protection and I went through like my bullshit, all of my plants died. No matter how much love and care,
Yeah.
they all withered and died. But I don't have those problems anymore
Right.
because I said, you can't come back. You can't
Yeah.
come past the plants.
Yeah.
They all died except for one, and that was the one I bought after everything stopped. So
Okay. That makes sense.
I would suggest cheap plants. Take care of them, obviously, but do not be surprised after a certain period if they don't live, no matter how much you love on them,
Yeah.
especially in that area. And I wouldn't try to fudge it and do a fake plant because it doesn't work as well. Speaking from experience, it just doesn't fucking work as well.
Right.
And it also helps to have something living in every single room of your house, even if it's not like if you have an active house, which I know you do have an active house because you have a lot of dead people and you are working with clients,
Yeah.
just have a living thing somewhere in the house, and that will kind of also redirect that energy, especially if you suspect that you have portals in your home. And energetic portals can be made in a lot of different ways. I popped a few portals open whenever I was in deep grief. Like I could feel it coming out of me and like spurting into my home. And I had to go back and close it all up. And that was another thing, the reason why I had like this huge plant wall. People would come over to my house and they'd be like, "Oh my God, you have so many plants. This looks so great." And I was like, "Thank you. It's here for a reason. Don't touch them." But I mean that's why it's important. And I know we've talked about the importance of plants and having them there as like protective items before in other readings. And I think
Yeah.
it's going to be helpful to have that.
Okay. I'll try to find some I can keep alive for a few days.
You can just honestly, and this makes it really easy, if you go to the Home Depots, okay, Home
Hmm.
Depot or Lowe's, Lowe's might do this, but I know Home Depot because that's what they did for me. You just say, I need starter, you search for starter house plants that need low light, and the Home Depot will send them to your fucking house.
Oh, okay, nice.
And that's what I started with, and it was a group of five. Five plants, that's it. I got five plants for like 25 or $30, and they all came in pots, they all had soil, and they were all started.
Oh, awesome. I also have a friend who does markets with me, and her whole deal is she sells indoor plants. So I can ask her too if there's some that are easier to take care of, that she has.
You already have an in. You already
Yeah.
have You can do it that way, or you can just have them delivered to your house. Mine
Yeah.
came in like pots, and then whenever they got too big, I just got pots from the dollar store and repotted them.
Yeah.
So that's what I would start with, and I think that'll help you. And you can also like, they're like talking about bringing them to your table whenever you do readings, like having a plant to help you.
Well, yeah.
It makes it look pretty, and you can
Right.
intention it for protection.
I like that idea.
And I think that'll help you and keep us
Yeah.
grounded. It's a huge grounding tool. Whenever we talk about grounding for the Witches Circle in one of those months, I think it's like June or July, whatever. Um, it's going to be a month of using what's naturally around us already, and that's like the outside.
Yeah.
And I think that'll help you. And they're talking about stabilizing a lot of our feelings around grief and the separation that you're kind of experiencing right now.
Yeah.
Because I know things are like rocky and hard, and it's, I talked about this, but we talked about it in the beginning of our reading that what is happening has been happening for a really long time.
Hmm.
A really long time, and it just kind of went unnoticed. And I don't think the answers that you're looking for, I don't think you're going to have them for a while.
Okay.
And now they're talking about like maybe seeing specialists. I don't know if she's had like anybody looking at bone marrow and testing white blood cells and just different things. I'm not a doctor. Don't fucking take anything I
Right.
say seriously. But those might be avenues. Like you can just be like, hey, pediatrician, like this is what's happening. Like, what do you recommend? Because this shit
Right.
isn't normal.
Yeah. I mean, we've gone to tons of doctors and we've got more on our list. But we haven't had anyone. There's one thing it's interesting you say white blood cells because at the ER they said that her test results were normal, but I went back and looked at them and there was a bunch of markers for high white blood cells. So I was going to call her doctor today and see if it was just that it wasn't that high, so it wasn't significant, or what the reasoning was for telling us it was normal when it indicated it was high. So I'm going
Yeah.
to see what's going.
So you are her best advocate, and I would just ask a ton of questions,
Yeah.
a ton of questions, and keep asking questions. And if you don't like the answers that you get, then go to another doctor.
Yeah, that's what we've been doing so far. It's tough, but you just got to keep pushing till you find the answers.
I understand. I understand. And I know it's frustrating and heartbreaking for her on a personal level, but I would really, as a mom and as a kid who's been a kid, I've been in her shoes and I've also been in your shoes.
Hmm.
So I think I have like a good handle on it. I would just verbally explain to her a lot, like we're trying to figure this out together and we're going to do it together. And I know it sucks. It's going to suck.
Yeah.
And this is the process, unfortunately.
Yeah.
But it'll be better, but it's going to take some time. And just keep being present with her, keep being with her.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Now we're going to get into more of the other part of the reading because I think they're being more quiet around all that now. So I think I've said all the messages I need to say, and then you can also re-listen to this reading, so it'll be fine. Um, so we keep talking. I've been talking about I don't see any light, and I put this card down, and then somehow it popped back up. So I think this is another message about this card that we need to talk about. Um, I kind of think that's where we are right now, emotionally, spiritually. We don't know what the fuck is up.
Yep.
And it's okay to be here. Where you are is okay. It's okay. Also, we have a lot of spirits that are the same way. And that's why I say we need to cleanse
Yeah.
between each reading and cleanse our space. Because spiritually, that's going to kind of like take care of that. And it's going to make us feel just a little bit lighter
Okay.
in our area. Um, so the guy that walks around that's like shoop, 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 he walks pretty fast behind you all the time. It's kind of like he's living in his own bubble. He's confused. He doesn't know he's dead. Just so you know, if you start to
Uh,
notice him a little bit more, he doesn't fucking see you. He doesn't know you're dead. I almost feel like he sounds like he's coughing. I don't know if you've ever heard like a random like or like a clear throat like something like that.
I
That's
don't know if I noticed, but I haven't been paying attention much lately.
that's okay. And that's what he sounds like. Like he's
Uh-huh.
constantly trying to clear his like clear his throat constantly. So it's okay. And this is funny because the next card is I don't know where I am. I don't think he knows where the fuck he is. And this is also they're talking about this is a double meaning for you. So unfortunately with circumstance, I think this is just kind of like a spirit we've attracted.
Yeah.
And that's okay. I do the same thing. Everybody does that
Yeah.
whenever we are going through an emotional bullshit. Sometimes we pull with our energies unintentionally. He doesn't know where
Right.
the fuck he is. He's confused. And I think that's kind of a mirror representation of where we've just found ourselves.
Yeah.
That's okay. That's okay. But also, like, we need to get him the fuck up out of here.
Yeah.
So I know you know how to do spirit release work.
Yeah.
You took Nancy's class on that, right?
I
Right.
did. Yeah.
Okay. It's hard to keep up because it's not my class, so I don't really know everybody that's done it. So,
It's been like a year and a half at least, so it's been a while too.
but if you need anything and you need pointers or whatever, I can show you how I do it, but I can't reiterate the information that she's already given you because it's not my information. But
Right.
anyway, I would definitely open a release door and just kind of get that out of there
Okay.
and get him out of there. And he is kind of the one that kind of is hanging around you right now the most. Everybody else is off to the side, but they're mostly it's other people's dead people.
Okay.
Really anybody that's yours, but it's like an anchor and it's heavy. Now there's a double-edged sword to this little anchor business, and I've seen this with other people in other portals where we use the energy of the portal to heighten
Hmm.
abilities.
Right.
It's kind of like working. I say it like it's kind of like chaos magic, where we're using this,
Hmm.
enhancing what we're experiencing, which is great, but also can be bad because it just attracts more and more and more. So that's why I say we need to close it and work on how we are the energy source and we are the tool. And I think that's where this lack card is coming in, and you can correct me if I'm wrong. But you are your own greatest magic. You don't need to rely on your dead people. You can let them give you messages, but they're not really boosting us. They're
Yeah.
giving the messages that they know. But you've got it. You're going to be
Yeah.
okay. I know it's hard to absorb right now because we're tired. You look tired.
Yeah.
And they are watching that. Your ancestors are coming through and they're watching that. And so the loss that you're experiencing is a multi-layered loss. We actually have the loss card here. That's why I mentioned loss. Because I feel like we're losing a part of who we were as a mom and we're developing something more. Um, but we're also losing that thing that bonded you to your kids, which is this whole movement of dance and body language, and it's how you channeled your energy from the beginning, and that's a huge loss source because what you're doing is you're finding a new way to channel through these readings and these tarot cards, and there's no more body movement anymore, and that's where the energy could become stagnant and just kind of brings you down this
Yeah.
way. And so, whenever you are channeling, that's why I say we need to incorporate a few more tools to kind of
Right.
get that out of you. Otherwise, you feel like shit.
Yeah.
And then, whenever you have real muggle problems, we're bringing that in. We're reading for ourselves. We're getting double messages. And it's okay to read for ourselves. But whenever more of the cards are more for us than a client, then
Right.
things get a little muddled.
Yeah.
And I think you've experienced this before because you're like, maybe.
Yeah. I've had a few readings where I'm like, are you sure this is for them?
Maybe. And a cute trick that I do that whenever I read for a client is I always pull cards for myself first before I open a reading. And then if the messages come up, then I just need to hear it. And it's a double message for me and them.
Right. Yeah. Usually do that, but sometimes I don't always have time if I'm setting up and I'm late or something.
I understand. I understand. Those are
But I at least do it once a day.
all valid.
Yeah.
All valid. So it's interesting that the last couple of messages that we have is the first one is goodbye. And I think we need to say, hold on, I'm listening. Okay, so goodbye to the dead people that aren't ours, and goodbye to what's happening right now
Yeah.
and the past us, because we aren't the same as we were whenever we started this journey, and that's okay. But we can't hold on to her anymore. We're no longer ignorant of what's around us.
Yeah.
We are present. Even though we're sad, even though it's hard, we have to stay present and not, this is weird terminology, but muddle our magic.
Mhm.
Just stay here and stay focused.
Yeah.
And they're talking about your insurance, which is weird. I'm not a fucking insurance agent, but look for
That is.
outsourcing some of your medical things, but make sure they're covered by the insurance.
Yeah. Well, a lot of, not all of them are, but yeah.
I don't know why, but that's apparently what you needed to hear. Whatever, whatever. Make sure it's covered by the insurance. Okay, I said what I said. All right. So we have lessons to learn. Lessons to learn on our
Mhm.
control and our anger. And I think the shadow self meditation is going to help with that. So they're talking about anger in this life and past lives. And I don't know how
Yeah.
much past life work you've done, but
Some, not a ton, but
yeah.
yeah.
So that is our lesson that we should probably be focusing on is our anger and how to heal that. Not everything is our fault, but not everything is happening to us in a way that's harmful. Um,
Right.
it's happening because it's our lesson, and we need
Yeah.
to hold it. I've been talking a lot about we need to hold things that happen to us in a different light. It's not happening to us to hurt us, it's happening to us because we need to pay attention. Um, and this is funny that this other card came up because now we get to like finally talk about the dead people, which is funny because it's like at the end of the reading, right? Right. Okay, so the next part is I've learned my lesson. So I was kind of wondering whenever I started this, because usually your dead people that are around you, family members and things that have passed on, usually come up, but they haven't this reading. And it's interesting because I don't think they're going to. They're not going to respond how they normally have because they've been healing and growing on the other side. And that's, I've gotten a few readings on that where people's dead people are transitioning on, which is a good thing.
Yeah.
They're healing and they're working with their guides, and that just means that the dead people that you might start attracting are probably not going to be yours. And if they do come forward, they're saying it's going to be like the last message, the last thing. They're not saying anything else. They're emphasizing it's going to be the last message that comes forward for you, and then that's going to be it. Not that the connection is gone forever, but they're emphasizing a moving on process. So I have heard through other people that like there's infinite amount of souls that are moving on, and the souls that have passed on are moving on to like be reincarnated. And it sounds a little conspiracy theoryist, but I really think just based off my personal readings that souls that I've been able to reach the past couple of years are pushing forward, and I don't think
Yeah.
we're meant to always be able to reach them.
Okay. That makes sense.
And yeah, I don't think so. And I think that's okay, but a lot of people don't want to hear that because they always want messages from our loved ones. And it's really interesting that it's coming up in this reading and that they're quiet in this reading because
Right.
I, I see that in other readings where
That's
they just
interesting.
stand to the side very stoically and they're like, we're here, but like, what the fuck else do you want us to say?
That makes sense.
So your last card for this reading, which is funny that we're talking about this, is ancestor visitation. You do have a lot of ancestors that want to work with you, and
Yeah, I've been getting a pull to that, but I don't really know how to do it, to be perfectly honest, and haven't had time to do the research on it and whatnot.
well, that's okay. I don't have my little red folder with all of my plans for the Witch's Circle. We're gonna be diving into that one of these months. I don't fucking know which month it is. It's written out. So how we work with ancestors. The best thing I know how to do is work with what I know. And I know you're
Hmm.
like me, and we didn't have a lot of information. So, what you do is you work with what you know. Work
Hmm.
with the grandparents you know if you don't know grandparents. Work with direct parent father lines.
Yeah.
If you're trying to do this present life, I only focus on this present life. I'm not going back like ancestor visitation bullshit. No.
Yeah.
Maybe in shamanic journeying, I can do that. That's okay.
Yeah.
That's a space for that because I
Right.
trust what I see. But as far as this life, I only work with this life. I don't do
No,
other
I think.
lives personally. It's too confusing and I can't keep it straight.
Yeah.
Um, so work with what you know. And that can be like, hey, I knew Grandpa Bob liked cornbread and I've made cornbread for dinner. I'm going to put a little piece on the altar for him. I personally just make altars, and wherever my one altar is that I'm focusing on, that's where I throw it. But I make a space, so whether this can be favorite objects, My husband's grandmother did like a tobacco pipe, and so sometimes I have tobacco and I'll just sprinkle it around a candle for my ancestors, specifically for them. That's all they get. And I
Yeah.
talk to them and I tell them. I also see you doing this at walks. So I think a lot of your, I've never heard of this before, but okay. So a lot of your ancestors are like woodsy people out in the woods. I don't
Yeah, that makes sense. Like the land that we own in Virginia that was my ancestors' land is very much like sprawling woods and whatnot. And my granddad's always been big on hunting and things and literally spend every day outdoors.
Great, so that makes sense to you.
Yeah.
Wonderful. I like that where we're here. Okay, so they're the woodsy people. That's what we're
Yeah.
going to name them. Um, take that time, and whenever you're out in the woods, like if you want to, we've talked about you walking your land a lot.
Yeah.
And whenever you're walking your land, that can be a moment in which you speak to them. You can speak to them out loud or you can speak to them in your head. It
Right.
doesn't matter because the connection is there and they're calling you back to the land.
Okay.
They're saying we need to return to the land and be of the land. And also, those fairies that want to keep working with you, I think that's going to come forward a lot more there whenever
So
you're in the woods and in the land. And
the fairies thing, I've heard very varying things on whether you should work with them or not. So I'm not sure what to do with them because I don't want to get myself into trouble or, in a situation where I'm having more things in my house that bother me.
so, this is how I approach fairy work. And I can tell you, like I tell everybody else, I work with it because I know it's a part of my ancestry. I did the research and I know.
Yeah.
I can trace where they are and where my family lives. They live right next to a mound that's dedicated to a goddess, an Irish goddess, and fucking fairies. So that's how I know, and that's why I work with it. This is how I do it. If I'm going to be working with fairies, I build them a space. If I ask them to charge something, I build them a space. Is it always in my home? No. Sometimes it's outside. Do I try
Yeah.
to trap them? No. Do they look pretty? No.
Yeah.
You're not going to get like fucking Tinkerbell, okay?
Right.
That doesn't exist. That's like they're saying it's a fuddy duddy. It's a fuddy duddy that they've made it this way. I don't fucking know what that means, but they're
Funny Betty.
really weird today. I would just do what feels right, and don't let somebody shame you with what they feel is right. What they feel is right is they might be scared of elementals. I've had many
Right.
colleagues who are like, I don't fucking fuck with that shit. I don't know anything about
Yeah.
that shit, and they might not know. They might
Right.
not feel a connection to that at all. I do. There
Yeah.
are fairies in every culture, every language, and they're referenced in a lot of different areas. And the
Yeah.
best thing I know to tell you is to kind of like educate yourself, and it'll be
So I know.
okay as long as you treat them with respect.
Yeah. And I know we shared the Celtic background and whatnot. So, I haven't gotten as specific as to which mountain we live by, but I know that's part of my heritage.
Yeah, I went all in. If you can't tell, that's how I do everything. I just go all in.
Yeah.
So I would just start there and
Okay.
do with do what feels comfortable. And
Okay.
if the only thing that feels comfortable is like, hey, I sent you these like twigs and these are your twigs and you can guys can have them, then do that. That's how I
Okay.
started. I was like, hey, this is your dirt. Here's your dirt. I don't know what else you want, but this is your dirt. And it's gonna
Yeah.
stay here until it blows away.
Yeah.
And it was outside. It was outside my home. And I did it every day for a while until I felt like they wanted more or they didn't want that anymore.
Right.
And if you ask, you must build a space. If you take, you have to say thank you.
Yeah.
Just being very, very cognizant and respectful. Whenever I close the circle of the seance, I say thank you guys for the messages that you brought forward. Thank you for showing up. I know you didn't fucking have to.
Right.
it's about respect. To me, it's always about respect. I'm never going to tell you to not work with something that you feel called to do. I think that's a little gatekeepy, but that's just my
Yeah.
personal opinion. Okay. Do you have any questions or anything?
Um, are there any more house ghosts that I need to be like getting the fuck out?
Um,
Other than the ones that I carry around?
so you carry a lot of other people's spirits, but I think that'll settle down if we just do a little bit more protective,
Yeah.
not protective work, that's a bad word to say, um, release.
Yeah.
Because they're
That
coming
makes
to you because they want to be released, because the people they're stuck and attached to don't know what to do with it.
what's yeah. That makes sense.
Their protection is going to be for their energy, like your client energy.
Yeah.
Um, so they're talking about the back bedroom. Like, is that like a master bedroom, like in the back?
No, well, we call it the back bedroom, but it's actually in the front. I don't know why it's gotten just the way that we have to go through a hallway to get there. But that room is not really used much. It's right now it's kind of storage and it doesn't have any purpose at the moment. So there would likely be something in there because no one's ever in there.
Yeah, they
Seems
talk
like
a lot about the back bedroom. So the room I'm in now um, was supposed to be my son's room, but he doesn't like do anything with it except occasionally. Like he's never really like in here, in here.
yeah,
So I try to have a plant in here, or I sleep in here. Like something has to be going on in here constantly, otherwise
yeah,
it fills up and it receives a lot of activity.
yeah.
And I would prefer all the activity to be in the hallways and spaces I can see them instead of in a room. So, what I would do is they're showing me again plants in the room, keep something living in the room,
Hmm.
and Reiki the shit out of that back room
Okay.
and tell them if they're there, they need to leave. There are some rather large ones that feel like they are back there that have taken precedence and
Yeah.
just be like, hey, you guys need to leave.
Right.
They don't really go anywhere, they're kind of stuck. And like they're
Okay.
almost like attached to the house. And I've seen this before in my rental where they were just so old, they were almost a part of the apartment at that point.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And then in Charlotte's room, she said she's been hearing lots of footsteps at night and like just shuffling around and things moving around. I don't know if there used to be a little boy in there that she would talk to when she was real little, but he seems to have moved on. And I'm not sure. There used to also be a big scary guy in her closet with it, which the little boy was afraid of. And I don't know necessarily if that's moved on. I don't necessarily feel it anymore though.
So I don't feel those things either. And the guy that she's hearing the shuffling is the guy that I just saw walking behind you.
Oh, okay. Okay.
That's him. He's not really going to interact with her, but because she's very sensitive, she's going to hear him. He's just
Okay.
walking back and forth and like,
Yeah.
she might not hear the coughing, but I can see him. He walks everywhere and
All
he
over.
just shuffles. He doesn't really know that he is dead. So
Yeah.
just whenever you're going through each room, just be like, hey, if you don't know you're dead, you're dead. It's time to leave. Please leave.
Yeah.
Just Reiki the shit out of your house. I know you're tired. I know you're
Yeah.
tired. But that is a priority because that is only going to invite more.
Right.
So yeah.
And then Tara still I know we talked about this last time. She still hears my voice and my mom's voice calling her name when neither of us are awake at night.
So yeah. Um those are her spirits.
Okay.
She's not paying attention to them. I don't expect her to because she's a kid. And they know that, but they
Yeah.
still want her to be like, hey. So they sound like your voice. They sound like grandma's voice. My daughter
Okay.
has the same. Interactions, she'll be like, sometimes I hear daddy's voice when daddy's not here in the room.
Yeah.
And I said, I know, I understand, but we don't respond to that.
Right. That's what I told her too.
You just need to tell them to not right now. Go away.
Yeah.
If you really want to respond, if you really are scared, and that's another way to teach her to change her language around it and kind of like take back her power so she's hopefully less afraid as time moves on.
Yeah. She's not scared of it. I just told her to ignore it, basically, or tell it. I said, if you do get scared, tell it to go away.
Yeah.
But, you know,
So, I mean, another way she can change her language that I'm hearing very clearly is just be like, I know you're not my mommy, and I'm
yeah.
not talking to you, and you need
Right.
to leave. I know you're not my grandma.
Yeah.
And she might hear what they really sound like whenever she does that. That part, that transition
Might
might
be
be a
scary.
little unsettling
Yeah.
because that's happened to me.
Hmm.
Um, but that's whenever she just needs to be like, you need to leave. And also like raking the room and
Yeah.
helping. But they will do that. They'll do that to grown people, they'll do that to kids. They can mimic, is what
Yeah.
they're saying. They can mimic. And I have a sister in law who has the same issue where she'll hear her husband. They have a very haunted property. Where she'll hear her husband, and her husband will be like, can you open the door?
Oh my God.
And I'll get on
That's
the phone with her, and I was like, bitch, you better not open the fucking door. You know he's at the store. The store is 45 minutes away.
right.
We don't open the door. We don't open the fucking window.
Yeah.
Can you open
That's,
the door? Can you open
oh,
the window?
oh my God.
I'm right here. Open the door.
Jesus. No, thank you. That is gross behavior.
And they hear that all the time. There's
Yeah.
really boundaries over there, but the spirits are very quiet whenever I come to visit because I'm like, no, you asked me to open the door. I'm going to open the door for you to leave.
Yeah.
Don't be fucking around and finding out with me, sir. Um, so yeah, just
Yeah.
I would just tell her to like change her language around that, and you can really help her with that. And as she's doing that, if she has those experiences, take that selenite wand and be like, okay, we're gonna cleanse you now. Here you go. All right, go play about your day. That's it. And that's all you have to do. And
Yeah.
I'm not saying it's going to be better because they're psychic beings and they're very sensitive and they see what you do and they want to learn. This is just a way in which to make it more tolerable.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah. Well, that's good to know. Nothing, no demons hiding in the closet or anything.
So I disagree with how other mediums handle that. I've never
Right.
had any experiences with demons
Right.
with a client, but it is my understanding, because I've asked these questions, because I've gotten clients that ask these questions, so I've asked these questions. It is my understanding that they can't like body snatch you or anything. That's going to be your dead people that try and like, and that's where we have spirit attachment.
Yeah.
There is a misunderstanding that they're going to like drag you to hell and it's this horrible place. They're going to influence. They're going to try and influence.
Yeah.
It is my understanding that that's all that they can do is influence. The same with the other side. That's all they can do is influence. And they'll try real hard.
Yeah.
It's the dead people that are like, come open the door.
Yeah.
Come open the door. Can you open the window? Do you hear me? Do you hear me? That's our dead people.
Yeah.
Because our dead people are the same in life as they are in death, which is
Right.
manipulative.
Yeah.
People
I've
don't make
tried
that
to explain
connection.
to kids, I'm like, some spirits are nice, some spirits are not. That doesn't mean they're demons or evil. They're just not great people.
I usually ask the question, well, was Grandpa great in life? Well, actually, now
Yeah.
that we talk about it, how do you think he is right now?
Right.
Let's just use our thinking caps here. Um, People don't associate like the personality or like the real world version of them once they've passed on. I don't know if they just think it's like fucking rainbows and sunshine, but it's
Right.
kind of not.
Yeah.
And that's the reality of it. But yeah, no, there's no demons. There's no nothing that's gonna like drag you to hell. We are in hell right now. We're in it together, and it's fine. It's fine. It's fine.
Fine.
It's fine. Um, so yeah.
Well, that's about it. I mean, I think that covers most of the stuff I was worried about house-wise. We've got a lamp that likes to talk to us in the playroom, and I think sometimes that it's Papa, Grant's dad, that committed suicide. I think he comes and talks to the girls sometimes and plays with them, but I don't know that that's like a permanent resident.
They're saying it comes and goes.
Yeah.
If the light starts like flicking, flicking, flicking all the time to where it doesn't stop, first
Yeah.
change the light bulb. Second, first change the light bulb. Second, they're talking about the wiring. Make sure the wiring in the house is good back there because I feel like that's like a little bit of an older home.
Yeah, it is.
Third, third, that it's not him because he only comes occasionally.
Ah, okay.
It's not all the time. It shouldn't
Yeah.
be.
It's usually not. No, like right now it's doing nothing.
Yeah.
But
So it
okay,
shouldn't be. But if it develops into a problem,
right.
this is how we know the difference.
Yeah, that makes sense. Good to know.
Medium chills. Any other questions while we're here? You look better, by the way, as we've gone on to the reading a little bit more.
Well, just knowing stuff helps.
Good. Good. Okay. Well, this is kind of it. I took pictures of your cards. I'm going to send them to you on the Instagram. What I'm going to do to make this recording easier to re listen to is I'm going to upload it to an unlisted YouTube video.
Okay.
And I'll just
Perfect.
send that to you, and that way you can listen to it. What I've been doing for other people is I've also been making them a page on my website that's kind of like password protected, and they can just go back to my website and listen to it that way too. Would
Okay.
that be helpful as well?
Yeah, kind of like Nancy used to do that had like all of your past readings for a while. She did that. But yeah, that would be good for me.
Okay, good. So you can just go there and you can re listen to it because I know things get lost in messages
Yeah.
and it's just hard to keep up with them. And
Yeah.
not everybody wants their reading publicly on the YouTube, and I understand that. So that's why I make it unlisted. And if you want it on your own page, then if you get other readings or other things, it'll just we'll just connect them all.
Yeah, that's good. I like that.
Cool. All right, I will do that then. You have a wonderful evening, day.
Thank you so much. Dave. Hope it's not evening yet. I've got a lot to do.
It's only 11. We're good. But yeah, if you need anything, I'm around.
All right. Thank you so much.
You're
Have a
welcome.
good day.
You too.
Bye.